British military intelligence believes Russia has lost 1/3 of the ground forces it used to invade Ukraine. The latest report from the Ministry of Defence claims Moscow's offensive has lost momentum and fallen behind schedule. The assessment is in stark contrast to briefings coming from the Kremlin, which still paint the invasion as making steady progress. President Volodymyr Zelensky warned the situation in the east of his country remains difficult. Our correspondent Joe Inwood reports now from Lviv.
It's hard to believe that anyone still survives in the ruins of Azovstal. An incendiary bombardment raining fire down on the last Ukrainian defenders. But hundreds, maybe even more than 1,000 fighters are thought to be making a final stand in the tunnels below. Above ground, tens of thousands of civilians are now living in occupied Mariupol. Russia claims life is improving and that the city will be rebuilt. But that was not the picture painted by a convoy of up to 1,000 cars, which yesterday arrived in Ukrainian territory.
Our flat was destroyed by 2 impacts. These were either shells or bombs. Everything got burnt to the ground. Nearly a month we used to live in the basement, and then we decided to sneak to a Ukrainian-controlled area. We don't recognise the Donetsk People's Republic.
But it's not just civilians leaving the ruins of Mariupol. Russia appears to be drawing troops away from the siege and into the fight for the Donbas. And you only need to look at their disastrous attempt to cross the Svyetsky Donets River to see why they might be needed. An entire battalion wiped out over just a couple of days. It's led British military intelligence to claim Russia has now lost 1/3 of the forces they used to launch this invasion. But in this war, you get a very different picture painted by both sides. Russia's top diplomat suggesting his country is the victim, not the aggressor.
We did everything to avoid a direct clash, but since the challenge was thrown, we, of course, accepted it. We are no strangers to sanctions. They were almost always there in one form or another. What is surprising is the absolutely cavernous Russophobic surge that has occurred in all so-called civilized countries.
But that is not how this war's being seen across Europe. Finnish troops have been on exercise as their country prepares to formally request NATO membership. The very thing President Putin has always sought to prevent is happening as a direct consequence of his war. Joe Inwood, BBC News, Lviv.